This is the whole time to get together.
Chandelier's coming down.
Put the camera on.
You did a good job.
You don't ever talk to the camera?
Doing the box. Said I knew more than she did. She can teach me.
Well, let me tell you, this
Get
is
in line, Griff.
Cecil Noel standing beside of me here. This is my cousin. Actually, that's another cousin shooting camera there, Sonny Hermon. We're here underneath a church that's 101 years old. The beams over top of our head, that long big chestnut tree, the other behind.
Hey, you gonna wait on me?
Dug out under the church, held the church up, put a wall on it. We're here for a reunion of school people that went to school back just after the turn of the century. So
One room with 7 grades.
one room with 7 grades, which is just up the road from us here, between here and Uncle Sweetie's store. Uncle Sweetie's store was built in 1936, I believe I heard. 34? 34, 35, 30.
I just said 37.
Well, they built part of it in 37. They built some in.
Hey, Robert. Who's really want to go get here?
Well, here we are back first full circle, huh?
Full circle.
Rope, you won't have it anymore. Now, I had a piece of rope that had 2 ends. We cut one end off and lost it. Then I had a piece of rope with just 1 end. Now, in this case, we're going to have a piece of rope with 2 ends, but we actually need 4 ends, so we got 2 pieces of rope. Now, he said if you cut all the ends off, it's kind of like spending your money. If you cut the ends off, you won't have them anymore. Now, if we cut it off, we'll lay it on the table. That's only cutting 1 end off. That's cutting 2 ends off. But if you notice, we cut all the ends off. Now, if we cut all of the ends off, we don't have any ends anymore. Now, you know, same way with your money. You spend all your money, you won't have any money left. This is all mind over matter. If you don't have mind, it doesn't matter. Now, we cut the rope. There's no doubt about it. The rope is cut. If you cut the rope, and to put it back together, most people just simply tie a knot in it, which I can do that too. I know how to. I tie a knot in the rope, it really doesn't get Actually, I like 2 ropes with a knot in the middle. The knot in the middle, actually, it's not really in the middle. It's closer to the bottom. Actually, I'd rather have it in the middle. Well, wait a minute. Let's take the knot off. We'll start all over again. You're paying attention, aren't you? Do you understand this? You notice this knot. See this knot? This knot's not a knot, though. I know not why it's not. But you can see that this knot is definitely not a knot. If you take the 2 ends of your clothesline rope and you go home and you tie them together like this, I'll show you what you can do. Of course, if you don't do exactly what I do, it may not work out the same way. I'm going to trim the ends. Now we have a rope with a hole in the middle, but no ends. We actually have 2 little short ends there at the knot. Now, if we take this rope and double it like this and cut it in 2, how many ropes will we have? Cut it right in two. How many? Well, we'll have 4 ends up here, right? Because we're going to cut through both of them. But we'll have them 2 little ends down here in the knot. It's confusing, doesn't it? All right, if you take the rope and you cut it at the knot, we'll say. We'll take the knot off. Then we'll have how many ropes? We've got 1, 2 ends, 3, 4 ends, and we'll take the knot, cut it off. Therefore, if we cut the knot off, then we don't have that. But did you notice I cut the 2 ends off this end? You notice? I didn't know what I got it back. I cut the 2 ends off. See, actually, same way, you cut the ends off. But you don't have any more. I think it should still be good. They say it's good from now on. I don't know. I tell you what, it takes just a few minutes of work. I'm just going to put a little bit on there. I'm going to do something else. If we don't see any progress, then I'll put a little more on, okay?
His face turned red.
It's big. Hold on while we've got that growing. While we've got that growing, we could together practice a knife swallowing act. I don't know if many of you have seen the knife swallowing act before because they didn't do it back then, but this, if you have any trouble when it gets right there, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. And you do the same for me. I will try this one because I haven't practiced with that one yet. So when I do this one, if I get about halfway down and have a problem, you just grab it, shove it down, and when we get yours, I'll do the same for you. Can you see this? Let me get my handkerchief out here just in case I need it. Watch this now. Doc didn't do this. It's your turn. No. Have you felt anything yet? Not much. Let's work. Work a little bit on that. Let me get this stuff here. Is it starting to work? Maybe I need to rub it in a little bit. Wait a minute. Let me just rub it in a little bit. You ready? Let me just rub it in a little bit here. Just rub it in. I don't know. Just rub it in. Yeah. I knew that. Well, that's it. Now we gotta get a pair of scissors.
Boy, you put him in the garden now, see,
And that works about the same as it did, 50, 60 years ago. That's about the same method they use, too, believe it or not. Same guarantee. Yes. Well, we're here at Mount Hermon Church. This is in Bedford County, Virginia. And I believe it's the 9th and the 25th of 1988. And we're here kind of for a reunion of the people that went to school in the area here, between here and Syfax, right only 1,000 feet or so from the church that we're in. It was a little schoolhouse, and later there was another schoolhouse built. And these are some of the people that went to those schools back, starting at the date with this young lady here. And your name is?
Tara Lee Noel,
Tara Lee Noel. And what year did you go to school here, Tara?
1910, you all say.
1910. Well, that's just going back a pretty good way. 1910. And this young lady, you went to school here too, is that right?
Right.
And your name?
Dorothy Noel.
Dorothy?
Dorothy Ruth Noel.
Desi Ruth Noel.
Ruth.
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 Ruth. I thought it was Ruth. Like my Aunt Ruth.
Like a Ruth.
Oh, Okay, Ruth Noel. Ruth. Okay. What year did you go to school here?
I don't know.
But it was about the same time you went with this young lady here, so it was about the same time in the early 10?
I don't have no idea. It was later. I know it was later than you. Yeah. Much later.
Y'all are gonna have to go back to school and find out.
Yeah.
You went to school 1917, 1918.
1917, 1918?
Okay, let it go back.
That's that.
That's when Ruby died. 1918, you was in school before she died.
That went to school here.
David Mitchell.
David Mitchell.
I attended school here from 1914 to 1920. During that time, we had several good teachers. Miss Betty Collins was a beginner, and Miss Mary Craighead finished me up. I'm proud to be here.
This young lady, I believe she went to school here. This is my father's sister, and your name is?
Ruth Noel Herndon. I graduated from Mount Hermon School in 1923. I'm still going to school. Overstreet. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, that's what it was.
That's what it was. And you who now? Who'd you marry?
I married Pearl Craig.
Craig.
I'm Pearl Craig now.
And you went to school here how long?
What day?
1914 to 1923.
1914, 1923.
1914, 23.
She and myself graduated at the same time.
Yes.
And the next one over.
Cole Fife.
Speak up a little louder.
Cora Fife, 1923, 1925. And come on, Wilson now.
Wilson now. Robert Noel. I went to school just a short while up here, and the teacher said I knew more than she did, and she couldn't teach me nothing. I knew everything. so I didn't get much education.
My name is William Collins. I went to school from 1917 to 1923.
Emily Ruth Tinsley, 19 and 1925.
Christine Falls Owen. I went to school here first. 1921 to 1933. I graduated.
I'm Dorothy Wheat Key. I went to school from 1921 to 1933. Went to grade school, high school, college, all at Mount Hermon School. Falls Owen. Oh, I forgot. Let me tell you, 1920. 1920. I couldn't tell you.
1930.
1930. Something along that.
Okay.
I'm Jack Falls. I attended school from 24 to 34.
John Noel, attended school from 1924 to 1934.
Griffin Worthy. Went to school from 1925 to 1933 and transferred to Ebenezer School.
Where in the world was Ebenezer School at?
Ebenezer School is up in Wheats Valley.
Where's Wheats Valley now?
Above Bedford County. Okay, go ahead.
Gerald Penn, attended school here in 27 and 28, and then moved on to Charlton School.
And I attended school here from 1929 through 1933.
I'm Bill Abbott. What they tell me, I went to school here till 1929. I don't remember. And I moved state to school.
My name's Cox, and I went to school here around 1935, 36, somewhere like that for a few years, and then went to Brook Hill.
Alan Abbott. I went from 1932 through 1936 from here to Brook Hill. And then I went, my last 2 years, I went to Liberty Academy in Bedford.
So know that my cousin's taking the picture, so it's no good you blame it on him. I attended school here, if I recollect right, from about 1931 through 36 or something like that. Anyway, when they closed the school, then I started to Brook Hill. And I never did finish school, so you that accounts for my grammar.
What year did it close?
37. You said 37.
Closed it in 36 or 37?
37.
I'm Marie Cox White, and I transferred from Brook Hill the year after school closed, so I went 3 years, I guess, 37, 36, 35.
I'm Viola Falls Paget, and I went 36 and 37, and transferred to Brook Hill. I think I was in the 2nd grade.
Marvin Wheat. I went to Mount Hermon School in 36, 37 years. I was transferred to Blunt School.
It was a one-room school, and we had anywhere from a primer on to the 7th grade, I believe it was. And we were in sections. The 7th graders taught on down the line. That's why the reason we're so smart, because the younger ones had the advantage because they listened to all the grades ahead of us. And we had somewhere around between 30 and maybe 40 students each year. So I think the group as a whole turned out great.
One teacher.
Am I the only teacher?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Hey, Sonny, we only had one teacher for the whole 7th grade.
Ethel Tomlinson, I remember so well.
One teacher, from the first grade to the 7th grade.
Yeah,
One
right.
teacher.
One teacher,
That's
all the
right.
way through.
The whole way.
And didn't half of them have a handkerchief in it that done this.
Well, did y'all have outside
That is correct.
1 or 2 holders?
Two.
Two holders. Does anybody remember most of the teachers' names that taught here? The only ones I can remember is Miss Ethel Tomlinson, Mary Tomlinson, Gladys Goins,
Gladys Goins, June Clinkham,
Vera Cox,
June Clinkham-Peel.
Miss Easton.
You don't remember June? She stayed there. Mr. Saunders.
Miss Easton. Easton was one of them.
Mary Craggett was one. Atlanta was one. George Key was one. Who else? Miss Anna Lazenby.
Miss Betty Collins. Then I went to school at Otterville a while, Miss Ida Hardy, Maple Falls, Pearl Cracker, Mary Lazenby.
All of them are dead.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, babe.
Yeah,
Going
yeah.
bigger than they do.
My damn sir.
Better zip your zipper. Let's see y'all.
I don't know about you, son.
He didn't say damn son, he said damn.
He sure did, didn't it? Do you know when he did
Walk on around, Mark.
Donate anything.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, put it in that
Oh, shucks. Let me get out trying to get in the car or something else happening. Ready to go? I'm flying out of the old over here.
I'll call you. Before he gets on there.
I don't know what it was put here. They put it here and a creek growed right into it. The wood's still holding up good. A lover's lane for many of the people many years ago. To sit here and spoon in the moonlight under the shade of the big beautiful. There's pictures of the church that we just left. The church where we just had the meeting. Now we're standing here, and if we circle the camera to the right, we'll see what used to be the school. This is the one-room school that those people attended back in the early turn, right after the turn of the century. A one-room schoolhouse that was later converted to a house that people lived in until a few years ago, and it's now abandoned. And then another a school was built across the street, and that school has been since torn down. But this is the early first school here, and it still stands, built about 1890, 1900, along in that time. Date exactly unknown by me, but right around the turn of the century. Of course, it was later built into a house, and it's now abandoned. It's sitting here on Mount Hermon, which is near Lone Pine, which is Robert Marshall Noel Jr. Now, Robert Marshall Noel Jr. was the son of Anna Mae Noell and Robert Noel. We're in the cemetery of Mount Hermon Baptist Church. This child died at a very young age, infancy. Then Anna Mae and Robert Noel had another child. His name was Robert Earl Noel. Now apparently Robert Earl Noel is buried here, and there was another child named after this child, and his name's Robert Earl Noel, and that's me. I'm not buried here yet. So I must have been named after this Robert Earl Noel that I just discovered here in the cemetery. Another daughter of my grandparents, apparently my father's sister, that died at a young age of about 12. And then the tombstone here, the cemetery, of my grandfather and grandmother here in Mount Hermon Cemetery in Bedford County, Virginia. And over here we have our great-grandparents that was born here in the year of 1822. October 6, 1822. And died at the age of 84 years and 4 months of age. And that's the great-grandparents of myself. And this is the roots of the Noel family here in Bedford County, Virginia. And there's other Noels buried around us. With this one being William P. and Mary we're looking at here was Sweetie Noel's Jot 'em Down. Built in about 1934, the first part of it you see, and on the side that you see the gas pump over there, that gas pump used to be an old pump-em-up gas pump, and they would let it drain down from the top. And the people would come from here for miles around because Sweetie Noel had a 12-volt or a 6-volt battery, and Robert Noel, Sweetie Noel's brother, brought a wind-driven generator that would charge the battery once in a while, and so people could come around here and listen to Amos and Andy and the Grand Ole Opry, and they'd sit around the old fireplace in there, an old stove, and they would
Oh, shoot the bull and just carry on. And this is a place that you could buy that Pepsi Cola for 5 cents. Batteries. You could buy batteries. You could just buy things that was needed. Of course, there's not much in here now. It's kind of run down. Then about 10 years later, they added on to the back of it and made a little bigger store back here so you could put in some cold drinks when they'd go to town and get some ice. Because there wasn't any electricity out here with the exception of the battery. And we're on Lone Pine Mountain now, ain't we? Ain't this called, what's this called?
It's near Lone Pine, just a mile from Lone Pine.
What's this
Lone
called?
Pine, I don't know what this is called here.
Well, this
Between
is
Lone
a house.
Pine and Mount Hermon.
This is a house, Sweetie's house.
He built that.
Sweetie built that house. And that's where I was born at, in that house in 1934. And out behind that house over there, there's a well, not far on the other side of it, that they dug by hand that goes down into the ground. And they dug it out and picked it up by bucket. How deep is that well, you think? 70 feet?
75, 80 feet.
70, 75, 80 feet deep. And they brought it up rock by rock and bucket by bucket out to dig that well so they could get water in the house. They had a pump on the back porch.
Well, they pulled it up with a chain.
Well, to start with, they had a well, yeah. And then I remember they got them later. They got them somewhere. No, they got a pump on the back porch, and of course they was moving up the world. I don't remember what year they put an outhouse in, but that wasn't for a long time.
In fact, I don't think they ever had
No,
one.
I don't remember one either. I think they used the slop jar and it went down over the back hill. But finally they did get modern, and a few years ago they put a bathroom in, right?
Yeah. Didn't have no septic tank though, and, and every time they flush the toilet, the chickens would run from all over the hillside there, see what flew out.
And this is a true story now. It sounds a little far-fetched, of course. And Aunt Ruth here. We didn't get Aunt Ruth in this picture.
It's in back then.
Aunt Ruth. Aunt Ruth, of course, I don't know, did you ever sit around, jot them down, and listen to Amos and Andy?
I had to crawl down here if y'all was here.
Listen to the Joe Louis fights and Grand Ole Opry, Uncle Dave Macon, and Roy Acuff and Minnie Pearl. Standing now used to be a little pot-bellied stove, tin stove. And there's places over here where you could sit around. And then when he added on this part in the back here, there was a counter here. And he had some shelves in there. And people used to sit around here, summer and winter, but mainly winter. And they had a radio. And it was the only radio around. So it was the only form of entertainment. So people would walk or ride their horses or their buggies here to the Jot 'em Down store. Sweetie Noel was his name. They called him Sweetie. His name was Fuzzy. Sweetie Noel. I think Cecil, his son, pinned that name on him. And everybody would sit around here and swap lies. People here, both black and white, they all sit around in here together. There was everybody got along real good together. This was the form of entertainment, to come and listen to the radio back in the 30s, 20s. This actually started in the middle 30s here and into the 40s. A lot of hard work done around in the woods here. Mainly it was, starting in about the 40s, it was pulpwood. They had to saw the wood down. They had to take the bark off of it back then too. But everybody got along pretty good, and if you went to town, it was a long ways to Bedford, and that would be where you go to a movie. So they didn't get into town too often because it was so far. Of course, they didn't have many nickels either. We'll go outside. Of course, yeah, we used to sit out here on some things. We used to shoot 22 rifles at target right over there. Right over across the road, there's a little bank there, and we'd sit here and shoot the 22 rifles into the targets over there. Of course, that was a dirt road. There wasn't any traffic on it to speak of. And like I said, the old gas pump was here that you had to hand pump up. And then sitting on this hill up here, there was the schoolhouse that was the second school. We saw the first school a while ago. It's gone now, but the second school that a lot of them went to is now gone. And that's set right on the hill, right where you're looking now. This road leading down the hill here, we're in steep hills around the area, and the roads were very winding. And later years, when they didn't have to walk to school, the school buses came through,
And the school bus sometimes would actually have to back up at one place to make a curve. It was so steep.
You've lost how much weight?
Got a pretty yard.
Everything all right in you now? Everything, you got any, how's everything health-wise? Everything under control or what?
I got mastitis.
Mesotitis?
Mastitis.
What's that?
What cows get?
Well, how does it affect you?
Your titty.
You where?
They can't milk you anymore or
No,
what?
there's just infection in there.
When did you
You know
find
something?
that out?
It could have been a lot worse then. couldn't it?
Wednesday.
And what do you do for it?
They give me some pills to take. See, if I didn't do it, he's gonna do some x-rays on it.
You're about 3-4 years older than me, ain't you? How old are you? I'm 53. You're 56. You're 3 years older than I am. You remember? You probably don't remember.
Sonny's 2
4
years
years
older.
older.
He's 54.
I'm 54. She says I'm 54, so I'm an expert over here.
32.
You remember when me and you and Booger went to Syfax with car?
What, the tomato?
Yeah, the tomato. I bought me a tomato and he bought a candy bar and I jumped over in the front seat and he said, no, yeah, right. And he threw me in the back seat and I sat on my tomato.
You were lucky you didn't sit on his candy bar. You would have had a fit there. That's funny.
Is Ann in the bed?
I don't reckon.
You got mud all over your feet, don't you? Sure.
Yeah. Been in the garden.
Just got all kinds of mud on your shoes. This is where she is.
You ever get down like a dog like that? Cargo leg when you get through. So. Still got mud on you, Shirley. Yeah, you got mud on your shoe
On the
yet.
side.
Oh.
Melted the headlights too then. How about the radiator? Did it melt the radiator? But, 1, 2, 3. 3 cross members on it, but they don't go overhead like I thought they would. Talk about these cross beams here that I thought they would go overhead. Maybe they melted off there, but doesn't look like it. Should have been constructed better than that. You know what? Suicidal. That's all's left of the refrigerator. The back coil. What's that? It's a cooking stove there. Fire extinguisher didn't do much good. Melted the ladder too. Melted it.
no generator.
Somebody start the furnace under the bed.
Melted the just melted the aluminum right off of it, man. Steering wheel too. Oh, no, this is a Chevrolet, isn't it?
454.
Yeah. Carburetor is looks like it got the old type compressor on it. Mine's a different compressor. It looks like an alternator. Had about 50,000 miles on these, says. So, refrigerator, gold sink. Got the speedometer plus to there, helps. Or the speedometer. Well, that's it, huh? My Joe, it had a microwave in it too.
Oh, I'm asking what he wants to pay to get away from me.
I'm just gonna get some more train. I can't eat anymore.
She'll take it.
Good, yeah, I don't like fast. We may not, we don't